let's pray. Let's pray in. Dear Lord, we'd like to thank you. Before we ask you for anything, we'd like to thank you for everything. Thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to make it throughout the day and allow for us to go through this class, this course tonight, one step at a time, allowing us to clear any of the pre-stuff that happened, but just to be focused on you and our finances at this time. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So with that, any questions? Questions? No? I'm going to take you real fast because, see, when David come up, you're going to have all the questions, right? Ooh. Right. Okay. It's going to be a long night? No, it's going to be great. Y'all want to talk about what happened today? We need to do that first because I'm trying to warm y'all up before. No, you don't want to talk about it. All right, well, let's just, yeah.
I enjoyed going through the insurance part, so thank you for that. I was able to get an extra discount on my car insurance.
Yes.
As well as I took it back and from the beginning with the subscriptions and canceled about 3 of those subscriptions. And
That's good.
I really don't need that. If I get honest with myself.
Right.
You know? So thank you all.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Give her a hand. I'm going to buy you lunch. You just give me 1 minute. I got some lunch for you. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Aha moments. You looked at your insurance. Did anybody bring their insurance documents? Okay. Got it. All right. If you would, just kind of take them out and put them to the side. So, like, whenever we're going through the class, I'll probably just stop by and pick them up and take a look at them. I won't interrupt you in your flow, but we'll do that. Okay? Any others? Aha moments, questions about your assignments? No? Yes.
So this is going to be a little personal.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So with my auto insurance, I did not realize the rate is dependent on your credit score. And so I'm currently going through a divorce, so my husband is on my car insurance, and his credit is way worse than mine.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that it was affecting my car insurance so much. So what I did was I asked them to remove him off of it, and I asked them to re-rate me based on just me.
Wow.
So if I hadn't paid attention in the class and even looked at it to even pay attention, I would have never realized that. So.
That's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On the rate decrease. Absolutely. That's good. All right. Anyone else? Aha moments of clarity. All right. Okay. We're going to move. So this next section, we're going to talk about estate planning. All the things that you've ever thought about is the time to get prepared. When David comes up, he's been doing this for a very long time. He works for one of the top law firms in the state of Arkansas. So you get the best of the best. Ain't that right, David? It's the truth. So you'll be able to get all your questions answered tonight. He's amazing, and he goes through all the details. Can I ask for one favor? Write your questions down as he goes through the content, because he's likely going to answer it throughout his presentation, right? So write your questions down, be prepared, be interactive. It's going to be great, and please welcome Mr. David Jones.
Okay, y'all ready to talk about some death? I said, who's ready to talk about death? Oh, I'm not getting any kind of, any feedback at all, which is understandable. But you know what? This class is not about death. You have to be alive to do estate planning, so good luck for that. I'm glad to be here with you. Haven't had a chance to sit through the sessions like I usually do. Have y'all learned a lot in the sessions that you've gone through? Yes. Okay. And usually, I sit through sessions every time this Money Matters is presented, and every time I learn something different. You have a lot of amazing presenters. You have folks who, in real life, are doing this stuff and are doing it at a high level. So I really encourage you to tap into those resources. I will tell you, the reason I haven't been here is that I've been extremely busy, And I was thinking about it today, and I was dragging, and I was thinking about it today, and I was dragging, and then it just occurred to me, look, this is important. I got to be here for this. So there are a lot of important pieces that you've heard during the course of these presentations, but this is incredibly important. So it's not the funnest topic for us to talk about, but it is important. You've talked about how do we generate assets, how do we utilize what we're already doing to put away funds for the future. And now we're going to talk about all of those things that you have learned and you've applied and you've generated assets. How do we preserve those? How do we make sure that what you intend to happen after something happens to you actually is effectuated? So I want y'all to be interactive. I know Candace tried to put on me, she said, we're going to be going fast. We're not going to be going fast. I don't ask for permission. I ask for forgiveness after. So I'm going to go at y'all's pace. I'm for the people. So y'all have questions, jump in, ask me questions as we go. And I'm looking forward to it. So let's get right into it. I want to say that there's no way in the time that they've allotted to me, and Candace is real strict about the time that I have. So there's no way for us to talk about every single concept of estate planning during the short amount of time that we have. So what we have is we have a broad overview of estate planning. We want to introduce you to some of the concepts. We want you to think about why it's important for you to engage in some estate planning. We want you to have an opportunity to ask some of the questions that maybe you've had for a lifetime and you've never had a chance to ask anybody. We want you to have a chance to get those answered. So what is the purpose? Broad overview. We already talked about that. In estate planning, there's no way for us to, on some things, it's very, very specific to you as an individual. So you can have two of you sitting at the same table, you're wearing the same clothes, you're driving the same car, you have the same amount of kids, and your estate planning dynamic is different. Because if you change one factor, it can change what you need to do for an estate plan. So maybe you have the same amount of kids, but you have a blended family. Or maybe you have the same amount of kids, but you have a kid who has special needs. Or maybe you have the same amount of kids, but you know that there are some of them they're all grown and some are self-sufficient and some are not. So there's some assumptions that we make when we start talking about estate planning. I told you before, you got to be alive. Can't do it from the other side. And one of the major foundational assumptions that we make is everybody at some point is going to face mortality. So you may think you're not, but generally, as a proposition, we are. And that's all of us. It doesn't matter how good you are, young you are, beautiful, handsome, whatever adjective you want to use. You can't take it with you. I have a friend who has said often and says, I've never seen a hearse with a luggage rack. And that's very true. It's you see people who try, put it in the coffin with me, but it's of no use to you at that point. So you can't take it with you. So what are you going to do at the point at which you are transitioning to the other side? What are you going to do with your assets? Okay, I want y'all to be interactive. I need y'all to turn me up. So there's a poll that we're going to be doing to survey your answers for some questions that we have for you. So if you would just go out here and log in on your phone, iPad, whatever, so you can participate, that would be great. So, and while we're doing that, is there anybody who has a question they want to ask while everybody's getting registered for the poll? No questions? Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask about probate. Somebody dies and some people have to go through probate. I had an aunt, it took over a year to go through everything.
Yeah. So the question is probate, and is the question about how long it takes to go through probate?
The question is, when do you do probate?
When do you?
When would you do a probate? Because, see, my mother passed less than a year ago.
Well, once the person,
She didn't have anything. So I was wondering, was I supposed to be involved with her or doing something? But since she didn't own a home, didn't have any money, she was disabled. So the question is, when would you do probate? Go through probate?
the question is, when would you go through the probate process? And probate is the way that if somebody has expressed their intentions of what happens to their assets in a will, or if they haven't expressed them, we'll talk about later how their decisions are made for them. But initiating the probate process, when would you do that? And that would be, you have any type of asset that you're wanting to transfer, because people at times will just come to the house or go to the bank and they'll just start taking stuff. And that's not the way that it's actually supposed to work. The way that it's supposed to work is, unless there's a probate skipping instrument that's in place, like a trust or something of that nature, it should go through probate. And the probate is the way that the property transfers from the deceased individual to the person they wanted to have it, or that is going to have it as a result of laws that are in place. So in that instance, if you're saying that genuinely your mother didn't have any assets and there was nothing to transfer, then you wouldn't go through a probate in that instance. Everybody signed up? Okay. Okay. Do you have a will, trust, or other estate plan? How many of y'all already have a will, a trust, or some type of estate planning instrument in place? Y'all be honest with me now. Be honest. There's no shame whatsoever. Okay. 88% says do not have a will, a trust, or other estate plan in place currently. And I want to explore that a little bit. So all y'all sitting in this room, y'all are intelligent folks. Y'all have jobs. You have kids. You have assets and things like that. So why have we not engaged in estate planning? Yes, any volunteer?
For me, is it working? Can you hear me? Okay. For me, I guess I didn't assume that I had a lot of things to need one just yet. So maybe that's my reason why. Like, I don't own a home yet. My car is not paid off. So I just felt like it wasn't the appropriate time yet.
Okay. Other thoughts on why? Okay, right here.
Lack of knowledge, and
Lack
it's
of
not
knowledge.
something that's discussed, I guess. You know, the older I've gotten, my family, we've discussed it and things come up, but lack of knowledge.
Okay, right, that's a good one. Any others? And we're going to talk a little bit about this. We're going to break this down a little bit and talk about it more in depth about why we haven't done estate planning at this point.
Maybe, well, I heard a lot of the other ethnic groups, like Caucasians, they talk more about estate plannings. I haven't heard it with our culture as much. So it's like, well, it's something that they do, you know.
So you're saying culturally that's not really something that we talk about. It's not something that's a part of our everyday conversation or that we have been conditioned to discuss.
Correct.
That's a good one. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but let's move a little bit into what is estate planning.
I think it's an assumption on our part. We assume it's going to cost us too much to even go and do trust and estate planning with someone because you need an attorney or someone. So we assume it's going to cost us too much, but it ends up costing us in the end.
Assume that it costs too much. That's a good one. So what is an estate plan? Let's talk about that. Estate plan is your instructions of how property that's owned by you should be distributed among your heirs at your death. And your heirs are simply individuals who you want to receive something from you at your death, or who will receive something from you at your death. Typical estate plan can include a will, setting up a trust or trusts, gifting property in a manner designed to work together to most efficiently preserve and distribute assets to those you want them directed. Any questions about that? So it's just a way for me to transfer my assets from me to the folks I want to who have those assets. Has anyone ever discussed estate planning with you? I mean, I'm really interested to see how this breaks out. Now, there are a couple of faces I recognize, so I know at least some of you have discussed estate planning before. Okay, so around 60% say yes, someone has discussed estate planning with me before. And if we take that 60%, let's talk a little bit more. And we talked earlier, we gave some reasons why we haven't engaged in estate planning. Let's talk a little bit more about that part of it. Why? What's the reason that people do not have a will? So a will being a very basic estate planning document, why do people not have a will?
Is it really important to have a will if you don't have any children?
If you don't have children. So you don't have any children, but you have a job maybe, you have a bank account maybe, you have some assets. So there are certain ways that you can pass things that don't require an estate plan. So on your job, you may have a retirement plan. And in that retirement plan, they give you the option of designating who will receive your retirement plan funds at your death. So you can make that designation, and that passes outside of an estate, so that wouldn't be a reason to necessarily have a will. You can do the same at your bank. Your bank allows you to designate a POD or pay on death beneficiary of your bank account. There are certain other investment accounts that allow you to do that same thing. But say you go out tomorrow and you purchase a home or you purchase a car or some other asset, and you don't have a will in place, because typical will is going to say, if I haven't specifically designated something to go to a specific person, here's what happens to it. So it's a catch-all. So that even if there's been some changes, you've gone out and you bought a new car, you've gone out and you bought a new house, you bought a building, or you bought a piano, or something else that holds value to you, the will will typically have a catch-all provision in it that says these assets are going to go to be distributed to everybody in equal amounts, or something to that effect. Did that answer your question? Other questions about will? Well, before we do that, let's do this. Let's talk about, why do people not have a will? Y'all said this earlier, too expensive. So y'all are right on target with that. People think that it's too expensive, and that's why we don't have a will. So I'm going to ask y'all this question. So how many of y'all receive medical treatment, medical care from time to time? Okay. So y'all are experts. Let me ask you this. Is it more expensive for you to go to the ER to get care, or to go to your primary care physician? Okay. Somebody said primary care? Is more expensive? Oh, okay, yeah, it's less expensive to go to your primary care. And if your primary care physician costs more, then you might have the wrong person. So what I'm saying to you, if you don't have a will, if you've not done some front end estate planning, what your primary care physician is, that's preventative. You're going there to do things to prevent you from having major issues. And what the estate plan is, it's the same thing. It allows you to prevent things from getting thrown to. It's going to probate, and there are no instructions of what to do. And what happens in that instance is, as an attorney, somebody as an attorney is going to come in, and there's a lot of work that's going to have to be done to sort out what's happening with your estate. And if that's the case, or at least there's the potential for it, if that's the case, then resources, instead of the resources going to your heirs, where you want them to go, your children, your cousin, your brothers and sisters, they're going to pay attorney fees. So we're trying to be proactive by doing an estate plan. Okay. Nothing to transfer or distribute. Somebody said that. They didn't say it directly, but somebody said that one already. And that's one of the reasons that people give. They don't think they have anything to transfer, and that's why they don't do estate planning. And in all of that, they've lost the fact that they have kids. So there are no instructions for the kids in any way. Or they've lost that they have minor kids and they have an insurance policy. And you're not able to designate funds to go directly to minors with your insurance policy. So people get lost in, I don't have anything, when there's some trailing assets that are going to be coming in, like retirement funds and insurance proceeds and things like that, that you're not going to be able to designate to minor kids. And I want to stick there for a second too. Or people think this. They think, if something happens to me, my wife's going to take care of it, or my husband's going to take care of it. how many times do, when you're, say, coming across to church on Sunday, are you riding in the same car with your spouse? How many times when you go on vacation, are you riding on the same plane with your spouse? So it never occurs to some folks that in a lot of instances, we're traveling together. What if something happened to both of us? And nobody knows what we want to happen to our assets. Or we have kids and we've not really done left any kind of instructions for what we want to happen with our assets to take care of the kids, and who we want the kids to land with. They think it's going to their spouse anyway, and that goes back to how many times are you riding across town together? How many times are you on the plane together? And then there are those who are planning to be a part of the rapture. So if you're going to make the rapture, then you don't need to do any estate planning. So, and I will tell you, it's very improbable. I don't know if this is the right place to tell you that, but it's very improbable. I mean, how many of y'all know folks who are young or you consider to be young, and they have transitioned? How many of y'all know folks who are in the best of health, or you thought they were in the best of health, and they've transitioned? Folks who were here one day and gone the next day. It happens, and it doesn't just happen infrequently, it happens a lot. So people have some fear and some lethargy or laziness about doing estate planning. I mean, particularly culturally, we haven't traditionally discussed those things, and you start talking about estate planning and folks start looking at you like you plotting on them. I mean, why you want to talk about estate planning? Why you trying to put a insurance policy in place? These are all things that we have culturally we have to overcome to start talking about, should we be doing estate planning? Question.
You said that I have a policy with my grandkids. I have a policy that I have my grandkids on, but they're young. So should something happens, how does that work?
And it's a policy that insures them.
No,
or
it's
you.
insuring me.
It's insuring you.
And
so,
they're the beneficiary.
And they're the beneficiary of it. So there's a policy that you have that insures you, with the beneficiary being your grandchildren who are minors. Okay, so typically those funds are not going to go directly to them. That's going to have to go through a process where some type of guardian is going to be appointed to take control of the funds and hold them for the benefit of those minors. So that would be an instance where folks a lot of times want to designate who that individual is going to be, or alternatively, they want to have a trust and designate a trustee and give a lot of more specific information about here's what should happen, here's what shouldn't happen, here's what the funds should be used for, here's what they shouldn't be used for.
To piggyback
Question.
To piggyback off that question, would the secondary on your insurance policy, would they get the funds?
In order for, so you said, your question is whether the secondary beneficiary that you've designated on your insurance policy get the funds, and meaning if
like
those
if you
were
got a
minors,
minor, it's a primary. Would the
no, No, so it would still be your primary beneficiary, as long as they are alive, it shouldn't go to the secondary beneficiary. It should go to those minors with some type of guardian to administer those funds.
But David, so that brings up another question though. What if the guardian of the minor children is someone whom you don't want to be the guardian?
Well, I mean, if you have not said, this is the person I want to be the guardian of the children, then, I mean, you're leaving it open for anybody. And frankly, if there are some insurance funds that are out there, everybody thinks you told them that you wanted them to have the kids. And everybody is, I mean, they may not have wanted the kids until they find out there was an insurance policy, but now everybody wants the kids, and they want control of those funds. Now, really, if they are the guardian, there is a relationship where those funds should be for the benefit, but we know that not everybody, how do I say this?
Is suitable?
That's right. That's right. So do y'all have any family members who might not act right in that situation? I mean, I think all of us have at least one family member we can point to say, this wouldn't be the one. If you're going to find somebody, don't give it to this one. Okay. So there's some people who don't do estate plan. Maybe you like for your family to fight over stuff, and so you're just going to leave it open, and whoever comes out of the cage in the cage match, then that's who gets it. Okay. List of different reasons why, different reasons, and there are reasons that we've discussed why you might not want to have an estate plan. What is your main reason that you don't have an estate plan right now? Y'all know I love my 36 percenters on the fear and laziness. Our real church folks telling the truth about it. So that's the winner. It's general fear and laziness. So we're going to see if we can say something tonight to get you over your fear and over your laziness. Okay.
However,
free is good.
I'm not that computer knowledgeable, so I started doing it, got halfway through it, and thing gets so confusing, so I just shut it down and never opened back up. So that's my excuse.
So you said you were in the process, you were getting it done, and it got confusing, so you shut it down.
Yeah.
And with the attorney you were working with, could you ask questions?
The base had made it so that you have to get an appointment, and it's hard to get an appointment due to that COVID thing, and it's still a lot like that. But I'm gonna do it again, and I could send what I had to him. Then went in, he would have finished the rest of it.
Okay. Yeah, so well, yeah, I'm gonna encourage you to go ahead and move forward and finish that process. Cause free.
Yeah, but now since I got your attention.
Okay.
On my bank accounts, my 401k. So I got all my 3 children. They get 1/3 of each. So, and then, how that work? That's how it's set up.
You can designate.
Something happened to me, they get 1/3 of it. It's already in writing.
So I guess the question is, there's a designation that he has on his bank account that says each one of the children get 1/3. And so long as those are not minors, then that 1/3 will pass directly to them and at your death. So that is absolutely a way that you can do it. You can divide it up in any increment that you want to and say who it goes to. Well, that sounds like a good designation, unless you want to slide me in there somewhere. So, I got you. Absolutely. Any questions? Any other questions right now? Here in the back.
As a single woman who's unable to have children, what do you suggest? Because I selected other. So my beneficiaries on my items are my brother, my cousin's children, because I don't have children, so I have to designate who do these things go to. So do I still need to estate plan? I mean, what do you do? Because everything, I mean, conversations are geared to, oh, your children, your grandparents.
When you say that you had to designate who they go to, what type of assets are you talking about?
Like insurance policies and things like that.
So insurance policies, you're going to be, we talked about that. You can do that outside of an estate plan, retirement accounts, bank accounts, things like that. Vehicles, property, things of that nature, you're not going to be able to do. What if you go buy a house tomorrow and you've put a certain amount down, you have equity in that house, you've not said what you want to happen to it, who you want it to go to, or any of that.
So who debates that on my behalf if I have no parents, no children, no siblings?
Well, one of the persons, and we'll talk about how that happens a little bit later, but one of the persons who would potentially be your heir would then initiate a probate action to adjudicate who that should go to. But you have the option of having a will in place, and a will is a really simple estate planning document to say anything that I hadn't specifically designated, here's who it goes to. And if you go out, you have a will today, and you buy something tomorrow, you still have a way of saying this is who it's going to go to until you can get to a point where you then say specifically, here's who it's going to go to. Okay. We talked about this one already. I think most of the folks in here said, yes, I've had somebody that I know personally die unexpectedly. And it's unfortunate that happens, but we have to learn the lessons from it too. So why an estate plan? You want to ensure that your loved ones are secure financially after you are gone. And you may not be able to pass $1 million to say they're going to be completely secure, or $2 million, or whatever it is. But you may have something to help them be more secure today or tomorrow than they are today. So you want them to be secure, and you want to add to that security by saying, this is who I want to pass my assets to. You want to promote family harmony. You don't like fighting. You don't want the family to be torn apart fighting over big or small things. And there's a reason I say it that way, and we'll talk about that a little later. You have minor children. You want to make sure that your minor children are taken care of, and that anything that you're leaving behind that you intended to benefit them is not benefiting that one person in the family that you know is not going to do the right thing. And I'm going to ask y'all this question. Have you ever had anybody in the family who you thought was a good person, and they had their head on right, and then there was something that happened over money and they acted differently than you thought they would act? Has anybody ever had that happen? Yep. Because I'll tell you, it happens. Yep. The person who maybe you thought would act a certain way didn't act the way you thought they were going to act. And sometimes that happens where people, they don't put a pay-on-death beneficiary on their account. They put somebody on the account for convenience to help pay the bills periodically and things like that. So that person is a joint tenant in that account and can do whatever you can do, and maybe they went and they cleared out the account. Or maybe something happened to People have had family members who did that, and then something happens to the person who put them on the account. The instructions to that person is, look, if something happens to me, divide the account up with your siblings. Well, that person doesn't have any requirement to do that. Effectively, from a legal standpoint, that's their money. They can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to do what you thought was the right thing. Maybe they think the right thing is to go out and get an Escalade. So that's what they do. So you have to work in a way that tries to give some guardrails to folks about how they handle what you're handing to them. Because it's a big responsibility to tell somebody, this is what I want you to do, and all of a sudden there are a lot of zeros involved, or even a few zeros. And they have a desperate situation where their bills are due too. So what are they going to do? They're going to do the right thing. They're going to do the right thing being what you want them to do, or are they going to do what's expedient? Question.
So I have 2 children, and I have both of them on life insurance policies. So with the estate planning, am I able to dedicate it so that it will pay up their life insurance? So in case I die sometime soon, that it would pay off their life insurance policy so that they're paid up? Because I have both of them on 20 pay life. So after 20 years, they'll be paid up for life.
And that would just depend on the type of life insurance instrument that you have, because all the life insurance is a contract between you and the insurance company. So that is going to govern whether you can do what you are wanting to do, which is pay it up. But in most instances, folks are not going to say, I won't take the money.
Okay, I guess I'm confused now. Yeah.
So you're wanting to pay from your estate
like
for those life insurance policies.
Whatever my life insurance or whatever benefits I would leave them, is there a way that I can dedicate it that it would pay their things up just in case whoever gets them once I'm gone?
Yes, and the most effective way that I know of being the trust, where you can say, this money goes into the trust, and here's what some of the things that the trust is supposed to do. Pay the life insurance policy. That's the first thing you do. Don't do anything else until after you do that.
Okay.
I want to provide for their education. I want them to go to college.
Okay.
Pay the college tuition.
Okay.
Don't pay for, you know your kids. This one's going to ask you for a car. Don't pay for a car.
Okay.
They're not getting a car until they're 18 or whatever. You can leave a lot more specific instructions in a trust than you can with a will.
Okay, so how do you get a trust?
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit more here, and I'm going to move a little bit faster. Why an estate plan? You want to preserve the benefits of your hard work. You think your decisions are better than decisions that would be made by the state legislators over at the Capitol.
New Dr. Phil.
My dad stole my inheritance.
I did not steal my kid's inheritance. Grandma left her nothing.
You think he manipulated her into changing the will?
I do.
And she had to buy a family heirloom.
You negotiated to sell this to your daughter?
Hey, the facts are the facts.
Why would you do that?
Make $75.
You totally negated what she wanted.
I did not negate it.
You're taking away from your daughters. I wish they could
Stop wishing. All new Dr. Phil.
And that's dramatized, but that's real. So we're looking at the numbers there, and we're saying that's a small amount to be fighting over, but you have what you see there, a lot of disharmony over very little items. And that's in very, very much in line with reality of what happens when someone passes away, and you may have had different ideas for what should happen than others have. And sometimes it's the smaller amounts involved that promotes more fighting. Let's do another case study here.
The Griffin family from the early 1960s. This is John Griffin here in the middle. In 1943, he formed his own company, Griffin Industries. In 2010, the company was sold for $840 million. Now, John had 12 children. Today, 7 of those children are involved in a bitter and costly legal fight over the family's estate.
None of the children in this Griffin family photo could have predicted how ugly things would be 50 years later, with sisters and brothers, barely speaking, walking out of a federal courthouse and preparing for trial.
How much money is at stake here?
Oh, there's a lot. Attorneys Kent Wicker and Janet Jacobowitz represent 4 of the Griffin sisters who claim their 3 brothers cut them out of the family inheritance.
It is a tragic story, and tragic that something like this would happen in this family.
I'm going to see how close attention y'all were paying. So who were the folks who were smiling in that last clip that we watched? That's right, the attorneys. Attorneys were smiling big, and you know the reason why? Because the money out of the state is going into the attorney's pocket because either you didn't plan or you didn't plan well enough. So you're trying to be, when you create an estate plan, you're trying to minimize the possibility that somebody is going to want to do something other than what you want them to do. And having an estate plan allows you to even say, okay, well, you can decide you want to do something other than what I'm saying you're going to do, but there's penalties to that. If you don't prevail, you're out. You don't get anything. You can absolutely put penalties in place that discourage people from having these fights. So what if you don't have a will? So the state of Arkansas has enacted some statutes that will act as your will and determine who will receive your property that you leave behind. Okay, y'all have answered some of these questions already. Who will take priority if you die without a will or other estate planning device? Okay, so a lot of y'all, over 50%, say it's going to the state. That's incorrect. It's not going to go to, the only instances where it would potentially go to the state is that they've looked and they can't find anybody who's your heir or potential heir or relative in any way connected to you to take from your estate. That's when it would potentially a cheat to the state under those circumstances. But I will tell you that a lot of folks think that, and y'all are smarter than a lot of our classes, because a lot of the classes are going to say, you know what, the spouse is going to have priority. But if you have minor children, the state statutes are geared toward making sure those children are taken care of over the spouse. Well, I hear some spouses not liking that very much. So let's talk about some estate planning devices. You have a will, which we've talked about some, have a power of attorney, living will, healthcare power of attorney, trust, guardianship, which some of y'all have talked about. So what is a power of attorney? Power of attorney is a legal document in which you grant others the power to act on your behalf. You can state that it becomes effective if you are incapacitated or unable to communicate your wishes. A lot of instances on a power of attorney, I have a brother who periodically he'll go out of the country. And he will leave his power of attorney so that I'm able to pay his bills or attend to certain business things that he needs attended to that you can't do from outside the country. So people have power of attorneys for those reasons, and it's allowing someone else to stand in your place to conduct certain business on your behalf. Question?
Yeah. Let's say you have an elderly parent or someone. Okay, now they had to go to rehab. They have plenty of money, a good retirement. Now, if they go without a will or whatever, the retirement center get all their money because they only get $40 a month. So how do you stop that?
Well, I mean, it's going to be individual circumstances because they're looking at spin down and different things like that. And there's certain things that you have to do a certain number of years ahead of them going into a healthcare facility in order to avoid things like that. So that's why you don't delay and wait until you're in that situation to get a trust or a will or something that's going to protect, and primarily there, we're talking about a trust.
Okay, the trust, right, okay.
Or some type of asset transfer. And that would be the reason you sit down individually with someone to advise you about what should I do, because this is on the horizon, and I want to make sure that we don't have a situation where all of the assets are going to go toward that instead of tapping into some of the resources that are available through the state. There was another question here.
Well, I was going to ask you, the power of attorney expires when that person passes away?
That's a very good question. The question is, does this power of attorney expire when the person passes away? And the reason I say that's a good question, because I've had people call me and they're actively fighting because one person thinks they have the power of attorney, so they get to say what happens now that person is deceased. Power of attorney is done with, no longer useful after that person's deceased. So you can't have the power of attorney for someone who is deceased. You're acting in their place, and if they're not here, then you can't act in their place. Healthcare power of attorney. So a healthcare power of attorney is just more specifically dealing with healthcare. It's a legal document in which you grant others the power to make healthcare decisions on your behalf. It can become effective immediately. However, practical matter, it's usually employed only if you are incapacitated and unable to communicate your wishes. Trust. So a trust is a fund or funds comprised of a variety of assets intended to provide benefits to an individual or organization. A trust fund is established to provide financial security to an individual. Most often that's going to be a minor child, grandchild, but it can also be an adult child, and that absolutely happens every day. It can be organizations like your church or other civic or nonprofit organizations. And there can be trusts where you're the beneficiary. You can set up a trust where you're the beneficiary of the trust. Questions about trust? And I've talked a little bit about it, but a trust is different from a will in that if you give somebody something in a will, so I give you $100,000 in a will, that immediately passes to that person. Doesn't matter what you say in your will, they can use it, abuse it, however they want to. Once it passes to them, it's theirs. In a trust, you can take that same $100,000 and say, invest $100,000, and until they're 30, they live off the interest that's generated from the $100,000, and then at age 30, when I think they're mature enough, that $100,000 or the rest and residue of that $100,000 passes to them. Or you can say that $100,000 is to be used for education. So they're going to go to college. I'll fund graduate school. Take care of all of their books, take care of all of their healthcare needs and things of that nature. You can be very specific, and you can control for a extended period of time in a trust. Questions? right here.
So I have a special needs son who assets are, they're important, for him not to have too much. So I've often heard that a trust is the best thing to do so that he won't get cut off from certain benefits. Is that accurate?
And that is a reason that folks will, and a very good reason, that they would set up a trust. They want to both make sure that that child's taken care of, and they also want to make sure that they are going to be able to both access the state benefits that are available and have these funds as a backup.
So you wouldn't put the child's name on the trust, you would just designate someone else to...
No, you can, there are ways that you would have, that as in a special needs trust, that you can set it up that it's clear who's benefiting from that trust.
Okay.
And you don't have to call it their name in order for them to be the beneficiary. You can, there are any number of things that you could call it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm getting short on time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit. I keep saying that. Living will, legal document in which you express your wishes regarding life-sustaining medical treatments. It's important to have a living will because it informs your healthcare providers and your family about your wishes for medical treatment in the event that you're incapacitated or unable to communicate. So we talked about the healthcare power of attorney. Someone can have your healthcare power of attorney, and they can be someone who you trust. I mean, you typically are going to choose someone you trust to make decisions that you would otherwise make if you were not unable to communicate. The living will gives them more specific instructions about what they're supposed to do. So even though I trust you, I also have left you some instructions. Here's what you should do. On big decisions like, do I want to be resuscitated and things of that nature. So there are some free resources that you might be able to tap into. If you are a first responder, the Arkansas Bar Association Young Lawyers section, typically they'll do an annual event where they'll do Wills for Heroes. So that may be something you can tap into. More free resources. The Arkansas Legal Services Partnership has some self-help forums that you might be of interest to you. And those are some of the forms. I know you've talked some about different credit issues as part of Money Matters. In those forms, there's a debt late penalty removal request. There's a collection agency stop contact letter, a debt validation request to a collection agency or to the original creditor, guardianship, living will, and some other power of attorney of a minor, and some other things that are more self-help items that you might access. Other nonprofit entities that might be of assistance. And while y'all are looking at that, I'm going to say, look, there are, even if you have estate planning documents, don't go 10 years without looking at it. You get it and forget it. That's not the way it works. There are absolutely points where you need to be looking at your estate planning documents and making decisions of whether you need to update them. So you have an estate planning document, and then all of a sudden you have another child. You need to be looking at updating your estate planning document. You had an estate planning document, but now you went out and you bought a house. You need to be updating your estate planning document. You got married. You need to be updating your estate planning document. You got a divorce. You absolutely need to be updating your estate planning document, because I can tell you, if there are not many things in life that I can 100% guarantee, but I can guarantee you that if you went and you got married or divorced and you remarried and you forgot to take your X out of your will, that's going to be problematic. You absolutely 100% will definitely have a fight. And if your ex is in there and you've designated something to go to them and you didn't change it, the case law is it's probably going to go to them. So you might want to go take a look, or if you're the ex, just be quiet and let it play out. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm telling y'all bad information. Okay, y'all. If y'all have questions, I'm always available to try to answer questions for y'all, and I'll be around. So I don't want to get into Candace's time. So I am. That's it for me. I'm going to be hanging around up here or in the back, and y'all feel free to come ask me questions. And I think we have food set up, so that really deserves a round of applause. Before us, we thank you for the hand that prepared it. We ask that you would just bless and sanctify this food for nourishment of our bodies. In your name, amen.
Well, let me give you 1 second. 1 second. How's the food? All right. And how's the family? All right. Y'all get some good information tonight? Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. It was really good. It never surprises me how the information, it just continues to get better. You always learn something new. So if you feel very overwhelmed, it's okay. Just start. That's it. If you feel overwhelmed, it's okay. Just start. All right? What was your highlight of the last session? Aha moment. Highlight, aha moment. Yes?
Learning all of the different, like, with the wheel.
Give me 1 second. Thank you, Mr. Kyle.
So I guess learning all of the estates, I guess, like with the will, the trust, and the differences between them. I didn't know any of that.
That's good.
So, yeah, that was good.
That's good. So the actual, what is it? Why do I need it? That's good. Anyone else? Aha moments? Things you learn. Yes, ma'am.
Well, about the grandchildren, putting minors as beneficiaries.
Right. Okay, that's good. The shoulds and should nots. All right, good stuff. Well, now we're gonna do a shift. So the shift is gonna tie right into the estate planning side. It's the insurance side. So when we start talking about insurance, we often say, okay, do you have insurance and all the things? So we're gonna go into that conversation tonight. I'm gonna cover a lot of pieces. And, you know, every time we speak, we have a quote or something I like to give. And actually, we were on a call the other night, and Mr. Thomas said this, so I took it from him and put it on a little slide. He said, not knowing is expensive. I got you. Yeah. I'm going to get a picture next time and throw it up there. He hates it when I do that. That means I got to do it. Not knowing is expensive. Do you agree with that? Because the information that David just shared with us, if we don't know, it costs us. Right? He asked, what was the better way to go about it? Is it better to go to the emergency room or to your PCP? Right? You all said the PCP. Well, if you don't know that, every time you turn around, you showing up at urgent care, boy, them bills gonna show up, right? Yeah. So not knowing is really expensive. Got that from Mr. Charles Thomas. So we're gonna talk about a few things. Let me ask you another question. If you had a goose, let's see. There we go. If you had a goose that laid golden eggs, if you've been in class before, don't share your answer first, share it last. If you had a goose that laid golden eggs, what would you insure, the goose or the eggs? The eggs? The goose. I got half the room that says goose. I got half the room that says eggs. Why? Both. The goose because what? The eggs because what? Why eggs? Because they go. That's good. Why the goose?
You're going to get more eggs.
Because I can get more eggs. Okay. Well, that's good. Technically, I mean, I like the answer for both, but really we would like to insure the goose, right? And so when we think about the goose, who's the goose in your life? Oh. Somebody was like my husband. Oh, okay, I got you. That's okay too, if that's what you want to do. But this is the thing. The goose is the asset in the deal, which means I'm going to insure the goose because it has the ability to lay more eggs, right? If one of the eggs come out and it cracks, it's over with, right? And it's not going to work. But the goose is like, yeah, let's keep producing. Well, in your life, you are the goose, and i.e., you're the greatest asset. So you'd ask the question, what is my greatest asset? And a lot of times people give me answers like my house is my greatest asset. My car is my greatest asset. And sometimes that comes to mind, but in reality, your greatest asset is you. Y'all agree with that? Why? Tell me what I'm going to say next. Why are you your greatest asset? You have the ability to reproduce more. That's what she said. That's right. So you have the ability to produce the income to buy the house, the cars, the things, right, that add to your life. Well, you are your greatest asset. My question for you tonight is, now let me be clear. Is your income protected? Since you or I am my greatest asset, you are your greatest asset, are you covered? It's the question for tonight. I'm an affirmations, positive kind of person. If you will, repeat with me, I am my greatest asset. Say it again, I am my greatest asset. That's really good. And tonight I'm going to see if your numbers on your paper will reflect so. To make sure that you're protecting your greatest asset, i.e. being yourself. So how do we take that number and see? That thing is called your economic value. Everybody say economic value. Well, what is your economic value? Your economic value is your earning potential between now and the time for you to retire or stop working. So your money potential, what does that look like? Everyone have a document? Looks like this, got blanks on it. When I do documents, I like to put blanks on it so that you can write with me and we can learn together. Got a document, got blanks on it? It should say money potential or economic value. You want to take your yearly income, if you want to figure it out, take your yearly income, multiply it by the number of years you have to work, and it tells you what your economic value is. I'm not going to ask you for your number, but you should know your number. I'll say that again, you should know your number. So in an example, if a person makes $40,000 a year, never gets a raise, and they have 30 more years to work, their economic value is $1.2 million. Everybody in here is a millionaire. It just depends on what you did with that money. Oh, I got faces and everything. Are y'all doing y'all economic values? You don't have to tell me what it is, but I do want you to do the worksheet. Your average yearly income times the number of years you have left to work tells you your economic value. The question I'll ask you is, that number that's written on that paper right there, is it covered? Is it protected? Is your money potential protected, is what your document says. You say yes or no. If you're not sure, just hold on when I tell you yes or no. Y'all looking at me funny, like, ooh, I got questions. When is retirement? Retirement is not an age, it's a number. How much money you got? So if you say, okay, I'm going to retire at 60, or I'm going to retire at 55, or whatever it looks like, Make sure you put your numbers in. Y'all need a little time? It looks like y'all working on it and you got chicken on your hands. You don't want your sheet to be sticky? I understand. I'm sorry. But I ain't got a lot of time, so I got to move. All right? So here we go. Everybody have a number? You don't have to call it out, but do you have a number? Yes and no. All right? Is it interesting when you look at your numbers, if you never got a raise, like you're going to make good money, right? I'm just going to keep going. Is the economic value protected, yes or no? How do you protect it? That's the question to ask. Well, you protect it and get income protection with two types of ways. You get short-term disability or you get long-term disability. Remember last week we talked about pulling your insurance policies. These policies allow for you, when you get disability coverage, it says if I'm unable to go to work, this is going to pay my bills for me because I'm unable to go to work for a period of time. If it's short-term, that means the policy is going to start within a 3-month period. If it's long-term, it normally starts 3 months or later. You're going to be paid out 3 months or longer, right? And that could be 1 year, 2 years, 30 years, whatever it is. But you want to make sure you have your coverages in place, which is why we asked you to pull them so we can review them. All right, we're on track. We know how to protect our income. Yes? Maybe? Did you pull your statements from the job? I don't have a job. Gotcha. That means we'd have outside disability policies, which is a thing. Oh, yeah, we got to answer for everything. Perfect. Your emergency fund. I don't like to call it an emergency fund because an emergency is something that you don't have a whole lot of control over it and all that. But emergency feels pressure and like my heart hurt a little bit. But an inconvenience fund is a little different. It's an inconvenience if the refrigerator goes out, right? You got a blowout, oh my God, that's an inconvenience. You agree with that? I like to call it an inconvenience fund. So an inconvenience fund, what is that? It is a fund that protects you and your family in the case of an unexpected expense. Did y'all write that down? You got notes? Man, y'all trying to eat your chicken? I understand. Just take a picture. You can get your phone messed up. All right, in the middle of the page, it says an inconvenience fund is a fund that protects you and your family in the case of an unexpected expense. We got it? No. Cheat off your neighbor. So what would be considered an inconvenience fund or be used for? Throw out some stuff. It's on the screen, but just tell me what you think. Your car breaks down. Hot water heater goes out. Man, it's a big deal. The washing machine go out, and Lord knows I don't want to go to the laundromat. I'm going to the daughter's house. Got you. The AC unit goes out at your home. What about if you lose your job? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. What else? Medical emergencies. Something happens, you all of a sudden can't go to work and you got to go into the hospital. Big deal. These are what we can call inconveniences. Why is it an inconvenience, Candace? It's not an emergency if you can write the check. It's just a mere inconvenience. That's another blank on your paper. It's not an emergency if you can write the check. Y'all agree with that? It's like, man, I don't want to spend this money, but sure, Lord, I'm so glad I got it to spend. Thank you, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
You got to sit in the front with me all the time. Me and you, we together. Yes, ma'am. All right, here we go. Everybody got that on their paper? Yes. So what should it look like for you to have an emergency fund or an inconvenience fund? Well, we call them a mini and a major. Your mini inconvenience fund should be $1,000 to $3,000. That's money that you can access. It should be in your savings account. You got it immediately. Something happened, I got it right now. You want to call me? You can go over there now. You can go over there. I'm not even going to tell them what you said. I'm going to just keep going. You show it out. What's your name?
You supposed to know my name.
I can't remember right now. I got a lot on my mind. Major emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of your expenses. I'm going to give you an example of what this looks like, all right? Let's say your monthly expenses is $2,000 a month. If your monthly expenses cost $2,000 a month, it is recommended that you have $1,000 to $3,000 in your mini and $6,000 in your major. It's all right if we're not ready or there yet. That's okay. The important part is to know what it should look like, what we should be going toward. You gonna take a picture? I understand. All right, everybody got their document? Because it should say mini fund, inconvenience fund, and it should say major, and then it asks you a question that you can answer on your own. How much money should I have in my mini emergency fund and major emergency fund? Mr. Marcus said that there was extra food if you'd like some. Is that correct, Mr. Marcus? And there's some cupcakes up there. Please eat them and some cookies. Just save me one of them oatmeal raisins. I'll take one of those. My sugar kind of low. All right, we good? We ready? Everybody moving? If you don't have the funds and you in your head right now and you being hard on yourself, I need you to just take a moment and ask yourself the question, if this is not in place, what can I do for myself to build up these areas as soon as possible? Pick up a second job. How about, can I give you can I give you just a hint, just a little? I said something the other day. What did I say the other day? You need a blank whether you like it or not. That's close. That's close, but you're right. A hustle, a side hustle, a home-based business, whether you like it or not. Now, some of you said, I'm going to pick up an extra job, but now that's extra time, that's extra clothes you got to find or put on. What if I signed up for Walmart delivery, which I can clock in when I get ready and clock out and go when I get ready, right? Don't think I like Uber Eats, all the delivery services, because everybody's using them. You may say that, but you're driving back and forth to work anyway, right? Fine. Do whatever you desire. Do whatever you desire. My point is that you can go in when you get ready and go out when you get ready. Not that you have to be there at a certain time all the time. And then what's the biggest benefit? The biggest benefit is that you get a chance to write off now your regular expenses, and they become business expenses when you have that home-based business, side hustle, whatever you want to call it. Because now I'm working as needed for a company that needs me to come in. I'm making extra money, and what am I doing? Building up that fund. I'm building up that fund when I can. Not because I got to spend less time with my kids because I got to go to this job that I signed up for every weekend. Does that make sense? All right, I'm just giving you a tip. I got to keep going. What kind of things can hurt you? Maybe cost you some money, but you don't die. Y'all laughing at me. It's a real question. What can hurt you, may cost you some money, but you don't die? Oh, that's good. She said a major illness. I'll take that. A critical illness. Heart attack. What are some critical illnesses? Cancer, stroke, diabetes, which causes renal failure. You got it. Now, these cause major financial losses that can actually cost you a ton of money. All the hard work that you've done in your life, and then, God forbid, something happens, we get a bad test, and we cannot go to work for the next 3 months. That's a real bad test, right? Something happens. Financial loss is one of the number one things. And when I'm so stressed about my finances, I can't even focus on healing right, and now everything going down. So some of those illnesses are, like you said, y'all actually called them all out. Stroke, heart attack, cancer, and renal failure. Now do me a favor on your document, rate them from the most common to the least common. Tonight is about awareness. Are you covered? Are you protected? Is your money protected? David talked about, is your family protected for when you pass? This is, are you protected now if you don't pass? What are your answers? What's number one? Cancer, number one. Okay. Somebody else got a different answer. Stroke, number one. Heart attack, number one. Okay, what's number two? Heart attack. Cancer, number two. All right, cancer, 3. Got it. All right, do me a favor. Ooh. Jay, can you grab that blue bag and bring it to me? Cancer, stroke. Anybody want to do the tester for me? You have not taken the class before. Stand up. I need you to call them out in order. Stand up. Go ahead. Hold on 1 second. Let me get you a mic. Well, I really need you to get a mic. He can take some time, and then I can get some funds out. There we go. Yeah.
I got heart attack, cancer, stroke, renal failure.
Now, man, something happened. Okay. Not that one. Somebody else. It was good. All right.
I said a heart attack, stroke, cancer, and renal failure.
You took the class before.
No.
You did so good. Woo!
Look at that.
I'm gonna get you. I got you. Hold on. Boom. Right there. Let me get you some money, girl. We're gonna take. That's enough for both of y'all. Yeah. There you go. Go to Outback Steakhouse and don't spend no money out. There you go. We got your back. All right. Heart attack, stroke, cancer, renal failure. Renal failure often comes from long-term effects of diabetes. Cancer is always the thing that's talked about the most, so it feels like it's number one. These are the order and the most common critical illnesses that kill our finances. I mean, they hurt us. We may not necessarily die, but what happens to you, let's say, if this happens, who takes care of you? Loved ones. It's a real question, not a sad question. You have to think about it. If something happens to me, who's taking care of me? And then the real question after that is, who pays their bills? Because are they going to have to take off work too? If they're working? If it's a spouse, now are you and your spouse now on sick leave because we have this thing happening in our household? It's a big deal, and we have to start thinking about it, not because we want it to happen, but things do happen. Are we prepared? So we call it this critical illness policy. What it does is it covers you for any of the majors that could happen. And what we like to look at with a critical illness policy is where you get a lump sum benefit. Let's say you have a $50,000 policy. God forbid you get this bad test. Well, it pays you the $50,000 to your pocket, and if you need to pay bills, if I need to take care of the family member who's covering or taking care of me, I can do that. Guess what? If I need the best coverage and I need to get on this plane and fly to California because that's where they the best at, I can do that because I have coverage to take care of me. Does that make sense? There's a sense of freedom that comes with the fact that I have options and choices because I planned. That's the plan. That's why we're giving you the info. We're introducing it so that you have what you need to then begin to make choices. It's open enrollment. You all agree? This could be a policy that you add during open enrollment. If you don't have a job, there's outside policies. We could get quotes for you for that. Yes, ma'am, you had a question. No? You're good?
No, I was just going to ask, is it best to have these policies with your job? I do have all of these, but if you get sick and you have to be out, how long would they hold your job for you to keep those policies in place?
Good question. So I'm gonna repeat, is in short. So is it better to have these off the job or on the job? Because if I get sick, will my job really hold my position? I'm not sure I can't answer that, but it's a great question. Is it best to have them off the job? It's easier to get them on the job because normally they have no checks. So I would always say start there. If you have your health and your medications, if you're on medications, if they're under control, you can get the coverages outside of your job, so you won't have to worry about it no matter what. it's a good idea during open enrollment to try to get your outside coverage. So if you don't qualify, you still have your on-the-job coverage that you didn't get out of. Does that make sense? All right, that's a tip right there. Okay. You get the Love product. Anybody know what the Love product is? Insurance, which one? Life. Perfect. Life insurance, you only buy life insurance if you love somebody. That's on your document. You only buy life insurance if you love somebody. Because guess what? Life insurance is likely not for you. It's likely not for you. But you get it if you love somebody. Life insurance is only purchased if you love someone. We got it? Now, what are the types of life insurance? There's a few, is actually tons of types of life insurance. But tonight, we're going to go over two main ones, and then we're going to also talk about how much you need. I don't have a lot of time, so let's fly through how much you need first. There's a document for that. See that? Everybody got it? How much life insurance do you need? Anybody know? I do know, I don't know, I'm not sure. I need a lot. I understand, me too, girl. I got goals and dreams and all the stuff. All right, so it says, I did not forget. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. How much life insurance do you need? So it says, would your family need to replace your salary? Okay, let me give you an example. You like, what? All right. You got a spouse, and you amazing. You know, you wonderful. And they're going to be so sad because you're gone. But no, when you leave, your check leave too. Is that not true? Okay. When your family loses you, they lose your income. Now, let me ask you a question. Imagine life, pull yourself out of it. What does your family look like? So should you replace your income for your family? Put a number in there, what your annual income is. And then somebody say, well, Candace, how many years should I do? You know, I'm so spectacular, they're going to need about 10 for me. But you know what I'm saying, I'm just playing. Let's do 2 years, right? You can do how many ever you desire, but I'm going to put 2 for the sake of the example. That equals $100,000. Just the replacement of the income in the household, whatever your number is, put your number, because you should be able to know how much insurance you need tonight. We're rolling? Anybody got a mortgage, or if you plan to have one? Because right now, you may not have a mortgage, but do you plan to? Put your number down. You say, okay, Candace, I don't know how much house I need. It's okay, put $200,000. That's average, right? We'll start low. But whatever your house is and what you owe on it, put that number in there. Because when you pass, wouldn't it be great for the mortgage to be paid off and your spouse doesn't have to worry about it, or the kids? Let me tell you one other thing. There's this thing called Mortgage Life. There was a question online earlier about it. Mortgage Life is a product, and it's what most people get in the mail after you buy a home, and they say, hey, we'll pay the mortgage off if you get this policy. But mortgage life insurance only is, the beneficiary is the mortgage company, not your family. This example is giving it for your family to receive the funds, and what if they don't want to live in the house no more? Right? What they like, man, I got all the memories of this person in here. I think I'm just going to move on. We're going to sell the house, keep that money, and buy the next house. So, but if you get mortgage life, guess what? They going to pay the mortgage off. You want the money to come to you. That's the point. Y'all got it? Put your mortgage number there. If you don't have one, it's okay. Put a number there anyway, because you are as young as you're going to be. So it's best to plan now for the future. We got it? You got any credit cards? Student loans. If you got credit cards, put your numbers. If you got student loans, put 0, because if you go, the student loans go. In Jesus' name. All right, car loans. Let's say you owe $15,000. This is just an example, but put your number. And any other debt that you may have, put your number. Everybody got numbers? If you don't know, put an estimate. But right now, I got $190 as an estimate for bills that are left behind. We don't want to leave just bills, y'all, but we're going to account for them in this policy to know. Anybody have children? How many? 2. Got it. So college costs how much? A lot. Okay. I think my number might be low, but in my example, I got 2 kids up here, and college is about $100,000 each. That's $200,000 I need. I think that's low, but Lord, touch us. Hopefully one day we ain't got to pay for college, school at all. We're going to keep wishing, but that's all right. So that's number 3. Everybody got numbers? And if your kids are grown, you don't have to incorporate that number there if they're grown, unless you're taking care of grandchildren. All right? How much are you planning leaving for funeral costs? How much it costs to bury someone today? About $10,000?
Unless you're just going super all out, I don't know why.
Okay. All right, can't take that class. $10,000. I put 10,000. If we're talking about the future, it's going up every single day. But we're going to put 10. We got it? You like, Candace, this looks like a lot of money. I understand. Just keep going, okay? The total amount needed for life insurance, if you add up all of these numbers, is $500,000. That's what my example says. Your example should say something different. Okay? Then it says, how much existing life insurance do you have? You may have a policy on the job. It's $100,000. Cool. Make sure you put that on there because you're going to subtract that out of the amount it's showing. How much do you have in savings? We're not going to account anything for it, but if you have a ton of money in savings, put that number there. I'm not going to put anything in my example here, but put your number, okay? And then the amount of additional life insurance needed, you subtract all those things, it equals to $400,000 that's needed for life insurance for this individual. Somebody in their mind heard $400,000 and felt like that's too much. I ain't got no money for that. How about you just get a quote? Because you just never know. Y'all ready to keep going? You got a number? Wait a minute, I can wait. I only got 10 of them. Help me out. Okay, can I keep going? Are we moving or no? I'm not gonna rush you through it. It is what it is. We ain't gonna go over, and if I can't cover everything, I'm gonna be okay with that too. We got numbers? She's like, I'm calculating. Just give me a minute. Your head's down. That means you're working on it. I can't discriminate with it. You know, I gotta be okay. I'm gonna do another 10 seconds. I'm struggling. Can't you tell? All right. Now, if you hadn't figured it out already, it's okay. Do this on your own time, and we're gonna keep moving. All right. But the important part is so that if you sit down with an agent, you should do this worksheet because you should know how much you need. You could take this form, and they can help you with that. If you need some assistance, contact us. We got your back. But no matter who you're working with, know what you should have. These are your numbers. This is for you. Don't let somebody just give you something, okay? So what are the types of life insurance? You got many, many options. Variable life, whole life. You got all kind of stuff. Term life. Well, I'm going to go over 2 options tonight. I want to give a gist of it. Whole life has 3 categories on your piece of paper. Write them down. It's all there. You got term life and you got whole life insurance. This is the examples for today. Whole life builds cash value, stays the same over time, and is normally more expensive. 1, 2, and 3. Got it? Term life has no cash value. It stays the same amount for a specific amount of time, normally 10, 20, or 30 years, and it normally costs less for these types of policies. All right, less expensive. Boom, 1, 2, and 3. Gotcha? Everybody got it? Say got it? Nope, not yet. I got you. Not yet? Okay. All right. Now, the important part about this is that many times when people go through the life insurance process, they feel like I need that guarantee. And that is fine. If that works and your pockets can handle it, just make sure you have the right policy that lasts for you in your process. Everybody in life is in a different season. So you may be in a season of whole life or variable life. That may be best for you. Or you may be in a season that says, hey, I need a term policy that costs me less so that I can cover what I plan to do. Let me explain. I plan to pay for the kids to go to college, yes. I plan to pay off my mortgage, yes. I plan to live and have all this money for retirement, yes. We agree? Life insurance should cover you just in case something happens prematurely. I'm gonna say that again. Life insurance should cover us just like your car auto insurance covers you. If someone hits you and you got insurance, didn't you plan for the insurance to pay for it if somebody hits you? Right, just in case something happens. We buy life insurance the same way. In case God takes me a little sooner than I anticipated, I have life insurance to cover me and then self-complete what I plan to do, period. Now, let's talk about what this looks like. Somebody said it costs a lot of money to get this policy, so I did an example of a 31-year-old person. They needed $400,000 in life insurance, and I did the example of a $400,000 whole life policy versus a term life policy. The whole life says it's $341 a month. Okay, feels like a little bit, kind of little tight. It's all right. It's a number. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, no problem, but let's look at it. I'd like you to take a look here at year 39. The reason I want you to look at this is because I'm going to give you another example of the term life in a 30-year policy. At 39, year 39 right here, the age is 70, the contract premium shows $4,094. Can I get a calculator real quick? $4,094. So if you take $4,094 times 39, how much money did you spend? You said 100 and what? 159,000. All right. I think you got it. Good job. I was hoping you got it right. Wonderful. That shows a guaranteed rate on my whole life policy to be $184,000 that they're gonna give me. Did y'all catch it? Y'all got real quiet. She said, wait a minute, it didn't make sense. I know. Let me do it again. The whole life policy said, I'm gonna guarantee you. Now, they have some non-guaranteed areas over here, but let's just talk about the guarantee that everybody talks about with having whole life. They said, I'm gonna guarantee you $184,000. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna take $184,000, subtract it from $159,000, and that says, they only gonna give me $24,000 in 39 years? Now I'm thinking just like y'all thinking. That don't make sense, do it? Did y'all catch what we just did? Okay. I'm okay with whatever policy you decide to get. I just need you to be educated and informed on what you get. Is that okay? There are policies that this works for, and it's different, and it grows in different rates. But I need you to get the base understanding. So when you look at a policy, you can say, hey, can you show me the guaranteed versus the non-guaranteed? Can you show me what it looks like when I'm 50? You can ask educated questions, right? All right, let's keep going. That same policy for $400,000 on a 30-year term for that 31-year-old is $23 a month. Now, Mr. Blake, I'm gonna pick on you because you're at the front and I can see you. I see everything. When I said that $400,000 earlier, you was like, But that ain't too bad, though, is it? I can spend $25, $30 a month because I'm getting a policy just in case, right? Let's look at this 30 years on this policy. So I can't take you to bank rate because I ain't got a lot of time, so I got it on the screen. Listen to me. $300 a month. Now, you like, where'd the number come from? The whole life policy costs $341. Yes? Y'all remember? The term life policy costs $23.84. Okay, we good? Roughly $300, we agree, is the difference. What if I bought the term life and invested the difference? Let's look and see what it looks like. $300 a month at an average of 10%, which we'll talk about Saturday. Y'all come to class Saturday? Yes. All right. I hope you make it. Invested at 10%, because some of y'all look at me funny and say, you can get 10%? That's all right, we'll show you. Over 39 years, because that was the timeline from earlier, yes? All right. That's a total invested at $1.7 million. I need you to look at this number right here. It says a monthly investment of $300 at 39 years at an average interest rate of 10% will grow to $1.7 million. And then I put it in big for you that says 1.7 million versus 184,000, where 24 of it was really what the growth was. Y'all okay? I gave you a lot of information, though. It's something to think about. I don't need you to feel overwhelmed. This is what I need you to know. I can ask questions. What questions can I ask? If I'm going whole life, how much is the guarantee and how much is the non-guaranteed? If I'm going term life, no problem. Can I get the max term? What's the max term I can get? If it's 30 years, great. If it's 20 years, great. Get the max term. Just be educated about the conversations, or just talk to somebody that you know care about you, and that's going to get you the right stuff for your situation. For whose situation? Mine, right. For your situation, for my situation, all right? This is an example, but it's a real good one, and we just want you to make sure you're informed. So let's do a recap real quick. Ooh, look at my time. I'm on it. Okay. Income protection, short-term and long-term disability. You buy life insurance if you love somebody. Everybody loves somebody? So you should have life insurance. Critical illness covers you for the big four and often covers other areas like heart attack, stroke, cancer, renal failure. Make sure you have some, even if it's just on your job. No problem. That's your recap. There's term life, there's whole life, there's tons of kinds of policies that you can get. Get what's best for you. All right? One more thing is long-term care. On the bottom of your thing, just write in long. Long-term care is what we call the dignity kind of policy. Deacon Thomas, if you could come up and grab a mic. The dignity policy is one of those policies that we say you get so that if you desire not to go into a nursing care facility, maybe the nursing care facility can come to you. You get these kind of policies in place to ensure that your kids may not have to bathe you, may not have to do those things, but you can have a skilled care nurse come in and do those things. Long-term care policies do that for you so you can keep your dignity about life and that your kids can continue to move forward in life, although you're transitioning and they're still caring for you. That pretty good? That's good. All right. So Deacon Thomas, I know you cover this really well. Any other pieces on long-term care to go through?
Okay. No, you need the long-term care, of course. It kind of protects your investments. I want to really talk about that because let's say you spent your lifetime and you got $500,000 saved up, okay? And there are two things that can affect that $500,000 you accumulate during your lifetime. One is an unplanned lawsuit. That's why you need umbrella insurance with your homeowner's insurance, okay, to protect yourself for that kind of stuff. Secondly is an unplanned illness. The cost right now to be inside of a long-term care facility runs between $6,000 and $8,000 per month. So if you are in a long-term care facility, you got $500,000 saved, and you live 4 years, all your money is gone to a long-term care facility. So take some of your investment earnings, set some of that money aside to pay for the long-term care. So now you protect all the money you've accumulated all those years.
That's great.
All the insurance Candace talked about is what we call a financial foundation. See, you can't have any money set aside in investments if you don't have an emergency fund. At that point, all it is a put in, take account. Put it in, take it out. Put it in, take it out. So your money never gets any real traction to grow, right? So you got to have that place, that in place, of course. And then other insurance, the critical illness and things of those nature. On the critical illness she talked about, you had a $50,000 contract, and you've been saving $50,000. 10 years, you get a bad report. You got $50,000 sitting in the bank. You've been saving for your future, and something happens like that. You got your disability insurance that's paying you, but like she said, you got to take that $50,000 and do other stuff with it. All of a sudden, it's gone. So your financial foundation is to make sure you got a good insurance portfolio that protect all the things it should protect. Then it gives you peace of mind. You can go to work every day. You can do the things you plan to do because you know your financial house is in order. So the first step to get into investing is to have your financial house in order by having a good insurance portfolio. Any questions about that? She did a good job covering it. Any questions?
Long-term care is also tax deductible. So when you get your policy, make sure you turn those premiums in to your tax professional. Sidebar.
All right.
That's good.
Quickly, the homework for next week. If you look in your workbook, pages 32, I think, to 38, Make sure you read those pages and get prepared for next week. Well, not next week, but this Saturday, right? This Saturday from 9 to 12. Get ready for those that class. It's going to be very important. You go through those 32 to 38 pages. All right? Number 2.
Hold on 1 second. Is that the white book or the black book, you guys?
Black book.
Black book, okay.
Black book, pages
We had a
32 to
question
38.
online, Mr. Thomas. We probably want to get to that real quick.
Okay. Question online? Okay. All right. Okay. What are you talking about? Okay, great question. 2 things. The question, first class, what time is the class on Saturday? It's from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Got it? Second question, what do you do when the term insurance ends? That was the question.
That's good. Good question.
If y'all listen very carefully, if you start your investment plan and got your term life, if you do the right thing and have enough discipline to invest that money every month like clockwork, by the time you get 65 or 68 years, you don't need the insurance. You don't need no life insurance. 0. Because you got $1.5 or $1.2 million over there. Everybody understand that? And then you set aside money for the long-term care. However, if you're starting late, you don't have any money accumulated, then yes, you need some kind of permanent life insurance, some whole life insurance, or some burial insurance, or go to a funeral home and get a funeral plan that you don't have to qualify for. And by me saying that, it's open season. Open season. You already talked about that?
Mm-hmm. Getting on their job. Yep.
Well, good deal.
Say it again, though.
Well, it's open season. It's a perfect time to upgrade your life insurance portfolio, because the big thing during open season, you don't have to qualify medically. So if you're overweight, you got diabetes, you got heart issues, you got all these different things that life insurance company is going to look at, you get that insurance on your job. Got it? And guess what? If you can take that insurance from your job and convert it when you leave, you got insurance and you're unhealthy. Very important. You got insurance and you're unhealthy. Same thing with long-term disability. You got long-term disability when you're unhealthy because during open season, you got it without benefits. Insurance companies have something called an MIB, called a Medical Information Bureau. It works just like a credit bureau. If you ever been to an insurance company and applied for insurance and you got turned down, that's inside that medical bureau. Also remember, when you apply for insurance, they have something called a prescription check. They'll go back 5 or 10 years to see what you took those prescriptions for. And every last one of those prescriptions have a reason why you're taking them. So you can't outsmart the insurance companies. Don't even try, okay? So it's really important. Get your financial house in order. Get your financial insurance stuff in order. Open season, take advantage of getting your insurance. Okay.
That's
we done?
success steps for Saturday. We got them?
Yeah.
I don't think you said them all.
Oh, I didn't say them all. Success steps for Saturday, if you will, set up your Charles Schwab account and your Fidelity investment accounts. You say, how are we going to do that? Well, it's real simple. Candace, did you know steps that walk through steps? You sent them an email last time, how to walk through that?
We did, but they changed the site, so I probably don't want to send it again.
Okay.
They should call them, though.
Yeah, just go online, call Charles Schwab with the 800 number, and they'll walk you through how to set your account up. Call Fidelity, they'll walk you through how to set your account up. If you want to really jumpstart the investment portfolio, you need to have those accounts set up, because we won't have time to walk you through and set up in the class, okay? And I got to tell you, Kevin, do they need to be at this class? Huh? Did you learn some stuff last week? Was it crazy stuff you never thought about? Did you see returns of 30, 40, 50, some returns with 100%? I'm just picking on Kevin because he came by the office to talk to me, okay? So don't miss this class. Get some friends, bring them to this class with you. Ken, you got any more success steps for them?
No, that is it. Just make sure we get it done. Did everyone finish their financial binder?
The pages were 32 through 38.
32
pages
through
32 through 38.
38, sorry. 32 through 38 in your black binder.
Black binder.
Make sure that your white binder is completed.
Absolutely.
Should be completed. Yes.
Now let's give 2 of these away before we go.
So in your white binder, what if I don't have some of these things? It's okay, leave them blank. In my white binder, if I don't have some of the things on there, leave them blank. That's okay.
You want to give some of these away?
Anybody have their white binder completed?
White binder completed in the house.
I
White
got
binder.
one. Anybody else?
Anybody else got the white binders completed?
One.
She gets blessed.
Come on through.
All right.
Money. Congratulations.
One more question. Can somebody tell me what does lost opportunity cost stand for? When I say lost opportunity cost, what does that mean?
Got one.
What does it stand for?
The money that you're losing by not investing it?
Not quite. Lost opportunity cost. Lost opportunity cost. You guys don't know that?
They don't know.
What's that?
She said, everybody, can she answer?
I must think do a good job talking about it.
She said she want to answer, but she
Okay.
want to make sure.
Go ahead and answer for us. Lost opportunity cost.
I'm sorry. It's basically the cost of the opportunity that you passed up on. So if you let $100 write you out of making $100,000 because you didn't want to go and set up your Charles Schwab account in time, you know, that was a $900,000 lost opportunity cost.
I like that. I like that. You're really, really close. Okay, let's do it real quickly here. When we started class, I told you guys to pay attention to $3.33 a day, right? Yes. That's how much is that a month? And I say, if you do what with that $100 a month, what are you doing? If you're wasting that $100 a month, that means you lost the opportunity to do what? Invest that $100. Everybody got it? But you were close, though. Come on up and get this. You were close enough. You were close enough. You lost the opportunity to get that $900,000. But I just remember lost opportunity cost. If you wasted money on anything, on subscriptions, car insurance, I don't care what it is, eating out, you lost the opportunity to take that money and repurpose it and invest it long-term wise. Everybody got that? All right. We're about ready to close out, aren't we?
Yes, we got to close, and we apologize for keeping you all a little over tonight, but it's been a great class, and we appreciate you guys. Pray us out.
All right. Father God, we come to you with thanksgiving in our hearts. Thank you, Father, for the fellowship tonight. Thank you for this 5 weeks of classes, getting ready to go into the 6th class on Saturday, Father. Father, we ask you to touch everybody here, Father. Touch their minds, Father. Get them to absorb this information, Father, and take action. Ask them to become actioneers, Father, people that take action, not note takers. Father, we want you to bless their going and their coming. As they're heading home tonight, Father, we ask you that everything be in order when they get there, Father. We thank this ministry, Father. We thank the St. Mark ministry, the Dr. Pointer of this church, Pastor Thomas with the foresight. Thank you for blessing us with RVEST and the funding, Father. Thank you for all the great instructors, Father, that have taught all entire week, Father. We just thank you for blessing this church and blessing this ministry, Father. These blessings, Father, we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.